Welcome everyone in Nigeria and the rest of the world. I am Gimba Umar and this is State of the Nation. Be part of the show. Tweet at Gimba Umar CTV. Use the hashtag State of the Nation so we can get your thoughts in. The National Assembly has passed the 2018 Appropriation Bill of 9.12 trillion naira for the 2018 fiscal year, explaining why it increased that budget estimate by 508 billion naira from the 8.61 trillion proposed by the President. Senator Danjuma Goje, Chairman Senate Committee on Appropriation, said that the increase in the budget estimate was done in consultations with the executive arm of government. Mr. Oludare Adonri joins me. He's the Chief Financial Officer of FITSN. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on State of the Nation at this time. Also, Fidelis Oduta, that's the Senior Advocate of Nigeria. He joins me as well via Skype from Lagos. I want to thank you both for coming on the show at this time. Let's analyze this. Let's begin with you, Mr. Fidelis. At this point in time, this increase in the budget was done in consultations, we understand, with the executive, according to Senator Danjuma Goje. What's the interpretation of that, do you think? Some see this as one more excuse, or should I say, no more excuse, depending on which part of the divide you belong, especially when it comes to bailout relief packages, which we have seen in the past for state governments and their ability to pay salaries. What do you think?
Well, I think one must start from the premise that the budget itself is part of the Appropriation Act, which itself is also legislation. And the National Assembly is charged constitutionally with passing legislation. In that respect, the Appropriation Act of 2018, which contains the budget, is no different from any other law that the National Assembly passes. Yes, the executive arm of the government to give budget estimates, just like the proposed executive bills, but ultimately the responsibility for passing those bills, as well as the appropriation bill, which is now the Appropriation Act, is entirely that of the National Assembly. And the National Assembly decides in its own wisdom what level to appropriate. If it decides to increase the estimates provided by the executive, it is right to do so, provided those funds are judiciously employed.
Now, this is what we know further, that the acting chairman, Fiscal Responsibility Commission, the FRC, has been speaking also. He says that the passage of the 2018 appropriation bill by the National Assembly is a relief to the nation, considering the many challenges, of course, and the estimates of this particular budget. Is it really a big relief for this nation, in your view?
It must be. We're now into the 5th month of the year, and we have no budget. It must be a relief to everyone who needs to spend money that we now have a budget which is approved and which authorizes certain expenses. I think it's from that sense that the acting chairman of the Fiscal Responsibility Commission made his own observations. And if you know, of course, the president has the emergency spending powers, but often they are constrained in various ways. The budget of 2018 allows the government to carry out its activities, and more importantly, to face the huge infrastructure deficit which faces the country. So, in that sense, it's not just a relief, it's a welcome step, so that we'll begin to look at how much of the budget can be spent on capital items, roads, power, railways, and other capital items.
Mr. Adonri, coming to you now, listening to what he has said, his submissions, he said it's a welcome relief for the country. You are in the private sector. Is this really a welcome relief to you, considering that this is coming just 6 months after it was first presented to the National Assembly?
Okay, maybe from the position he's speaking from, is a relief in terms of it's been delayed for 6 months. It eventually came. For us in private sector, we've been expecting this because everything has been on hold in the government. No contract. You can get anything. Everybody's looking up to budget. So to the nation is a relief. Not that is a relief, because it was delayed, because this is actually the most delayed budget in the last 19 years. We'll have expected something different, but of course this is Nigeria. So it's a relief, I'll put it that way.
But how does this work for you, being in the private sector, now that you've seen that the budget has come through, but looking at some of those pointers in the budget, for instance, looking at crude oil benchmark, which is was $45 and now it is now $51 per barrel, which they say is the right thing to do. But considering the current prices of crude oil globally, some argue that if we have to go that way, with prices hitting $79 per barrel, in some cases $80 per barrel, we're having that extra, we can call it a buffer, if you will. We have that extra. But how is that going to play into the state governments who are also part of this budgeting system, and to ensure that IGR and that those concerns raised on if states can be sustainable themselves is addressed?
Well, yes, for me, I believe the conservative position of the $51, that was taken compared to the current pricing is okay. And is okay in the sense that to stay conservative, because we're not in control of what happened in the international market. Sudden change, like it happened in the years past, anything could happen. And if it happened, it hits us as a nation. If it dropped below, the budget, the budget price, it becomes a problem. For me, it is still, on the good side for the state. Also is a good side. Of course, we know in the past, whatever is the excess in budget, excess that come into government at the end of the day, there will be clamoring among the states of how to share excess crude oil accounts, which at the end of the day become a benefit to each state.
Let me get your views on this. Do you think that the excess should go into the ACA? If you could hear me, Mr. Fidelis, what do you think in this scenario? Do you think that the excess should go into the ACA or even into the Sovereign Wealth Fund?
Sadly, the $61 conservative. Well, you have to remember that when the budget was originally proposed, oil was around $50, and in that context, $45 per barrel, which was proposed by the executive, seemed conservative. But a number of global events have caused the price to skyrocket. So now we are facing, but we have to bear in mind that the budget also uses 2.3 million barrels a day. That doesn't seem likely to be achieved. And therefore, to an extent, there will be a shortfall in the production, which will be mitigated by the somewhat higher price that is likely to be achieved. But whatever extent there is, should go into the excess crude accounts, which could then be the subject of usual horse trading between those entitled to this fund.
But what do you make of this excess crude account? A lot of people have argued, especially analysts, and say that it is illegal, number one, and that we shouldn't be keeping such an account. As a matter of fact, they say that it is part of the reasons why corruption has been a problem, and it serves as a safety net even for governors. What do you think can be done about the ECA?
I don't think the ECA itself is illegal. Why would the ECA be illegal? The ECA is still part of the Federation account, simply a sub-account, which is then subject to the rules applicable to the Federation account, which is why I said that although the monies are technically in the excess crude account, they remain subject to the constraints which apply to the Federation account. They cannot be done unless there is an agreement between the various stakeholders entitled normally to share those monies. I think it is somewhat superficial and simplistic to say that this encourages corruption. Yes, they said it might do, but there are a number of other factors that encourage corruption. I don't think that one can tackle corruption simply by abolishing the excess crude account and then leaving other aspects, other factors which encourage and indeed entrench corruption in our system untouched.
Because this concern is coming on the backdrop of how the spendings are carried out in the country, because members of the House of Representatives, in passing that 9.12 trillion naira budget, warned that on no account should 1 kobo be spent outside what the National Assembly appropriates. So what do you think of that? Can that be achieved at all when you have to look at the ECA?
I think the misunderstanding is the assumption that the ECA is in some respect free money to be spent by the executive at the state. I don't share that view at all. I believe that the ECA is part of the federation account, and that the monies which are in the ECA are subject to the same constraints that apply to monies in the federation account. The monies have to be appropriated in some way, pursuant to some legislation, as opposed to just the governors and the president sitting down together and saying, well, we'll share this money, give some to the states and give some to the local governments. That's not really a lawful way to appropriate monies, because the power to appropriate is that of the National Assembly, not the executive.
Okay, let me ask you this question, Mr. Adonri. One of the major concerns we've had over the past years, and when it comes to our budgeting system, is the implementation. Do you think that the 2018 budget of consolidation will move us out of that realm of having better implementation if we're able to record, say, 85 to 90% success in the implementation of the 2018 budget?
I don't think so, because, talking from the past, from what we have seen in the past, even talking from what the last performance of this, administration, I don't think it's going to be anything different. And again, given to the fact that we are going to election year,
okay. Let me put you on pause there. You'll tell us what will not make the difference when we return after this break. Join us again.